I think blame and guilt if we're thinking clearly and coherently and we're recognizing the reality that we're in, that we need to deal with guilt and blame, because guilt, number one, we're not guilty. I mean, we've been imprinted with original sin and various things, concepts that tell us we are guilty for just even being born. But in reality, to me, we're not guilty. But now, and in blame, because, you know, guilt, sin, and blame, the trinity of that chain, all right? And so we're imprinted about sin and guilt and blame. And I think that when I look at where we're at now, society-wise, economically, politically, individually, personally, I think that blame is a way of letting ourselves off the hook. You know, because I think it's pointless to blame anyone. The bad guys are the bad guys, and blaming them isn't going to change it. But at the same time, when we've got the bad guys to blame, then I don't think that we take responsibility to respect the power of our creative intelligence. I don't think we're taking and dealing with the power of our creative intelligence responsibly. We're not using it to be clear and coherent. We're not using it to recognize reality because we got somebody to blame. And I think so we need to be very, very careful, all right? Because we're too comfortable in the niche of emotionally reacting to what we believe. Because that's basically the largest behavior patterns that are going on in the society right now. People are emotionally reacting to what they believe because they believe believing is thinking. And we're perpetuating this cycle that allows the predatory energy to exist and feed off of us. So somewhere in there, the predatory energy is responsible for its behavior, but we're responsible for our behavior. But when we get lost in this thing about blaming, just blaming the predatory energy or what we disagree with, when we get lost in just blaming what we disagree with, then I think it's a subtle way, yet a blatant way of us not taking responsibility for our own. And I'm not just saying actions, I'm saying taking responsibility for the coherent use of our intelligence. And you know, and guilt is just, and guilt, we're not guilty. You know, guilt gets in the way of us being able to recognize and learn from our life experiences. When people feel guilty about whatever's going on, they just they just perpetuate and create more guilt. They don't really learn anything. So I think that these are concepts that we really need to think about and examine. You know, because in reality, life is a continuum of life experiences. We're responsible for what we do. So we should, you know, and as human beings, we've been given the power of intelligence to live this life. So we should respect that power and use it as clearly and coherently as we can. As often as we can. The objective is to do the best we can with the best we have as often as we can. But when I'm saying do the best we can with the best we have as often as we can, I'm talking about using the power of our creative intelligence clearly and coherently. I'm talking about thinking. I'm talking about taking the responsibility for that sacred power of intelligence that we have been given, and using that to do the best that we can with the best that we have as often as we can. Because we have the illusion going on where many people are emotionally reacting to what they believe, and they believe they're doing the best that they can with the best that they have, but they're not really. It's limited by the belief and not the thinking. One of the distinctions I make between teaching and programming is we're programmed to perceive reality to meet the needs of this industrial society that we're in. And programming is based upon memorization and believing. Believe the programming. We're not taught to think. See, so because at the end of the programming, we don't really have knowledge. We have information and data to make the machine run. Teaching means that as the teaching takes place, we learn from the life experiences. We gain knowledge about life. Teaching is about life. Programming is about a specialization within life.